station, and I would like to borrow one again since you're not typing the little thing your phone for you. Oh, just kidding. Trying to face the camera. Okay, so when she's standing here, I'm going to give her midline, and I'm going to say, all right, I want you not to let me push you forward. Stay here, stay here, stay here. Now, when I let off resistance, I let off slowly. I don't push her and go, whoa. Okay? Don't let me pull you back. Don't pull you back. All right. Don't let me push you to the side. Don't let me push you the other way. See what I'm doing to her? Don't let me twist you. Okay? Don't let me twist you the other way. Okay? I can do it up here at the shoulders. It changes what I'm doing to her. I can do it down here at the knee. Even if she's above the knee, I can go to the knee and push her. You feel the difference? Okay? And it does. It's a good thing. It's a good way to get her to learn how to stabilize by letting her keep that resistance. You can actually let her flex her trunk and come back up. You can give her resistance to trunk flexion anteriorly and posteriorly as she comes back up, giving her resistance to it. You can do the same thing for extension. It is not uncommon that I sit a lot of my patients on bar stools as a semi-standing position. So what you want is to make sure that whatever height bar stool, we have two in the clinic, one's 24 and one's 29 inches from the ground. My ischium or my bottom needs to be fully seated on the seating surface and my feet planted on the floor. Okay? I'll get these patients to start doing this so they stop relying on trunk support from chairs and everything. And I'll have them work on leaning forward, coming up, side bending, having a chair there at the table, so that if they go too far, they just touch the chair bottom. I'll have them lean back against their spout or a wall and sit back up so that I can control the posterior lean. I'll have them work on rotation. I do the same thing in standing without support, but if they can't stand without holding onto a walker, you'd be surprised how they can do that without the upper extremity support, which starts to increase their waist up for balance reactions. Okay? So it's a good way to get somebody that can't stand without extreme upper extremity support, less reliant on upper extremity support. Okay? You can have them stand on backs and rocker sports, and unlike I'm trying to do for an athlete where they do one leg, I actually stand with two legs on the back of the board, straddling the board, and I have them tilted side to side, front to back, somewhat with not as much, my ankle's not going to move, right? So if I move my pelvis, I can start to learn how to tip it. I can actually roll the back board both ways. I can stand on the rocker board. I can have them stabilize the rocker board, anterior, posterior, medial, lateral. Okay. I can have them tilt it to one side, hold it for 2 seconds, level it, tilt it to the other side, hold it for 2 seconds. That's hip strategy, pulling it in to get them to do the rocker board that way. Okay. We're going to talk about some free grades, some resistance, and some turning, and some different high-level gait things. Sit and stand. Okay, somebody messed that chair up. Don't know who. Okay. All right, so when you go to stand up, if my left leg, first off, when we stand, even without a prosthesis, don't ever tell the patient nose over toes. Because if you stop your nose at the toes, you've not gone far enough. You literally have to take the nose well past it. Some of my patients on walkers, I jokingly tell them I have a rose on their walker. They have to come smell it before they stand upright. So you actually come and then stand up. That's how you get your weight over your feet. And the same thing when you go down, you need to keep your weight over your feet. So you bow and then come down. Okay, so that in mind with a prosthesis. Let's go. You want to be able to weight the prosthesis. So let's say my left leg is above the knee. Okay? No matter the design, the sit to stand is the same. The stand to sit changes. Okay? What you want to do is be at the edge of the chair. Okay? Because if you stand up from back deep in the chair, not only is it hard to shift your weight that forward, but you also can't straighten your knees because the back of your knees are hitting the chair quite often. So part of is to come forward. So I bring your sound leg back but not under the chair. Okay? Make sure it doesn't come back so far that it's under the chair. Your prosthesis, if you're above knee, especially, you want to actually push it forward enough that the heel is in contact with the ground. The toes should be up just a tiny bit. I don't want it way up here where my toes should really jack up, and I don't want it back here so the heel's up. That takes a lot more to extend this knee. If I actually have heel contact, now when you stand up, tell them to put pressure on the prosthesis and dig the heel into the ground. Do not lift it off the ground. You must maintain contact to straighten that knee. Okay? Now, if you're going to have one hand up or down, they need to reach up. They need to push with the sound side. Their prosthetic side hand can be resting on the walker, okay, to stand up. Okay? Or they can push up with both. But if you have this patient that's a hard thing with sit and stand is transitioning from the chair to the walker, have them put the prosthetic side hand rested on the walker. Push forward, straightening the knee. You see how when my pelvis came up, I haven't straightened my back up, have I? Okay? But I straightened the knee because the second the prosthetic knee is straight, I can now put weight on it and balance. It doesn't have to be under me. I can put weight left and not fall. If the knee's bent and I put weight that way, it's going to collapse. Which is why you don't want it back here with the heel up, because if it's not straight, and I'm trying to reach forward, this is a one-legged cast. My left leg will give me zero support. You see that? So you need to be able to straighten that knee as you come up. Once it's straight, that's when you can reach up and straighten up and pull it back under you. Get them out of the habit of standing here like this for long, because you can't put a lot of weight through that prosthesis. Pull it back under you. Okay? When you go to stand, sit down, number one thing I want you to hear me say is, if you're going to reach back with one hand with a transfemoral amputation, always reach back with the sound side, or both hands together. What you don't want to do is unlock that above knee prosthesis and reach back with that hand, because if I go left and it's got no support for me, guess what I'm going to do? You're going to go straight down and you're going to miss the chair. So never, ever reach back with the prosthetic side hand by itself on one that doesn't have stance resistance. If you have a knee that you're trying to get them to load the stance resistant, that's one thing. But almost every knee on the first one you're going to be dealing with that doesn't have stance resistance, you never, ever get them to reach back with that prosthetic side hand first. Okay? So, let's go from a side view with a couple different designs. Okay? If I'm in a safety knee, a single action friction engaging knee that locks out with pressure and weight on my leg, I have to unweight that prosthesis. So I am going to put my prosthesis forward. My right leg, my good leg, sound leg, is against the chair. Not under it, but touching it. My prosthesis, if this is my good leg, my prosthesis is forward a half a step or so, but it's easier to take weight off of it. I want to unload the weight from it. Initially, they may actually have to lift it off the ground a tiny bit to get used to this. I'm going to unweight it so it will bend. If I keep weight on it, it's not going to bend with that design knee. So I bow down and reach back with my right hand. If I'm sitting in a chair with armrests, I don't have to bow as low. If I'm sitting in a chair without armrests, the bow is important enough that I need my hand that I'm reaching with to be the height of the seat. You see how high my right hand is from that seat right now? So if I'm bowing forward and I'm holding the walker, right now my hand, do you see how it got to the height of the seat? Okay, because I went that low. So your goal in the bow is to get your hand to the height of what you're reaching for. Okay, so if I bow down, take the weight off the prosthesis and sit back, it will bend and let me sit. Now, let's say I'm sitting in one of those that unlocks with toe pressure, like the total multi-axle total thing. Okay, that one I'm actually going to bring my left leg where the heel is actually under the chair, against the chair and under it. My prosthetic side is actually back to my sound side because I need to load the toe. Okay? So I actually bring it back under me. I actually stay up straight. I don't lean forward because when I lean forward, where's my bottom go? My weight. Back on the heel, and I need it on the toe. So I have to stay up tall. I shift forward, and as I bring my pelvis forward, I can feel that knee unlock. And get them to start to figure out getting comfortable with it unlocking first. Just get them to rock and unlock it in this position. But you want to unlock it, bow, and reach back with which hand?
The sound side.
Okay? And you sit back. Alright, if you're trying to get them to load it because it has stance hydraulics, you still want the prosthesis back forward the way we did, but instead of taking weight off of it, you're putting weight through the heel as you kind of go back down. And the key is to tell them with the stance hydraulic ones that your butt bone or ischium on the side of the prosthesis needs to sit in the chair behind that prosthesis. You don't want it to push you to the side or way back, okay? You want to make that knee bend at your speed. So I'm going to actually intentionally flex that knee, and most time I'm having her reach back with both hands so that we keep weight on the prosthesis to load with anything that has stance resistance, okay? I had to lose it this once today, right? All right, stepping with prosthesis. All right. The minute that toe of the prosthesis comes off the ground, you have lost the ability to flex that knee. Okay? So you need to start in the parallel bars. And I'm going to do a side view for the camera and you guys. I'm putting my sound leg forward and my prosthesis back. Okay? And the first thing I'm going to teach them to do is unlock the leg. You do it by two things. One is right now my left ASIS, being my prosthetic side, is posterior to my right in a rotation. You see that? Okay? So part of it is to bring my pelvis forward, so I'm over my right leg, and to get my ASIS into neutral rotation. So I'm coming forward and bringing that ASIS forward. See what I did? It unlocks the knee. I would have them practice that unlock by a slight, and I'm not going to rotate it this far so it brings the leg in front of me. It's a slight rotation back from retracted to neutral. Okay? So I'm weight shifting forward, not weight right. Okay? Think about I have taken yardsticks and had people push it with their pelvis forward. They literally have to bring it right in front of this ASIS. Push this yardstick forward. Okay, you can get them to figure out how to unlock it. Once you unlock it, then I go to 1 plus 2, phase 1 to phase 2. Phase 1, unlock it. Phase 2 is to actually give me a nipples only worth of hip flexion strength and finish bringing that ASIS forward. So I bring it like this. Okay, let me show you the difference in that. Okay, if they look like they're punting a football, because they're leaning back, look how far my weight is from my initial contact point. That's a big weight shift and a lot of excess motion. If I actually unlock it and I bring it forward the rest of the way by bringing forward this, look at where my weight is, my pelvis, in relationship to that plumb line. I'm more over it, right? And have more control. Okay? So that's how you bring it forward. And the third part is to hit the heel with a light touch to lock the knee. And to control that step length and vary the step length so they learn how to vary it with phase 3. So you one, unlock, bring it forward, place it. Don't get them thinking about kicking the leg forward. Get them to use the pelvis to place the heel where they want it. That's the key, is think about use the pelvis to place the heel where you want it. And it does a 2-for-1. It controls their step length, it gets the pelvis coming forward, and it gets that initial contact with the heel without reinforcement impact with the heel. Okay? You can progress that once they got the heel touch, is actually get them to weight shift over. See what I'm doing? So I just come forward further. So I unlock with phase 1, phase 2, bring it forward. Phase 3 is to let the heel hit slightly, and then weight shift over the top of it without leaning over. Okay? Start this in the bars with mirrors so that they can watch it and do different stuff. Then I actually sometimes will get in there and I'll start on the sound side, and I'll do the same thing. Weight shift first. So I get them to weight shift forward over the prosthesis. What I'm trying to do here is not pick up the right foot where I'm back here. Okay? So I'm getting them to trust unlocking that leg. And then I did the same thing I just did on the prosthetic side. Down step and step back. And think about where your pelvis is coming. Okay? And obviously my pelvis is connected. But I'm starting to get them to shine the headlights where they're walking with slight weave, with the rotation, not majorly shining the lights on one side or major weave. I progress this sometimes with patients that really need to work on that knee flexion to what I call the bride walk. Guys like this. Okay? What it is flex that knee. Think about it a minute. Everybody see me? Step. Flex this knee. Take that second, like the bride does when she's coming down the aisle, to pause with that massive knee flexion so that everybody's saying, the guy goes, I see that. I see why we call it that, Tracy. Man. It's like, all right, whatever. Okay? All right. Again, start with stepping with the pylon. Work on them knowing how to weight shift over the prosthesis and be over it before the sound side steps. Vary your step length, work on side stepping, and I'm going to do it for the camera this way. If my left side is amputated, I abduct the left side. I don't pick up the right side right now. I actually get them to learn how to shift over that left leg. Now step in. Step the left leg out, shift, step in. Okay? You're teaching them, not every step we take is forward, guys, so they need to be able to go different directions. If I'm going away from my prosthesis, I make sure I'm over my prosthesis before I step my right leg out. I'm not like falling over this way. I'm balanced, step out, and come in, and bring it in. Use this leg to actually help push you. So I'm over it, push out, off of that leg, put some pressure through it, and bring it in. Okay? You can actually also work on stepping backwards. I'll go through that now while we're here, and then go through this. Backwards. One of the big things is where you put the weight. So, my leg from my ankle leg, all of this today. The problem is, if I use just hip extension, you see how I'm on the prosthetic toe? This is below me, above me, all of them. I don't want to walk backwards like that, because if I now pick up my right leg, I'm going to have trouble with my prosthesis balancing me. You see that? It's going to want to buckle on me. So I actually put it back by almost a hip hike and hip extension motion. So I come down more on a flat foot with my weight right over it. Okay? So it's almost a hip extension, hip hike, so that I weight right through the top of the prosthesis, step the other leg back. Bring it back with that hip hike, hip extension combination motion. And you want them to learn to step even steps back. They shouldn't have to do a step 2 gait to walk backwards. That throws them off balance. They need to be able to do a step through backwards gait pattern. Resistance. One thing, I love PNF, and this is a great way to do things. But with a person who we're doing PNF, face me. Okay? My hands are going to be on his iliac crest as ASIS like they should be in PNF. On normal PNF, it's almost like he puts his pants on backwards and my hands are angled down into the back pockets. Okay, how our front pockets on pants are. Okay? With a person with an amputation, part of the problem is step forward when you're this morning. Okay, when I give him resistance, come forward onto your left leg. Push forward, push, push. Not your upper body or the pelvis. Look what he's doing on his right foot. He's plantar flexing. Do you think the prosthesis will do that? No. So if I have too much of the downward pressure, he's going to compensate because his foot won't plantar flex by hip hiking. So because of that, you want the resistance, you have to bring your forearms parallel to the floor. You can leave your hands in the angle so that they get a little bit of the three-dimensional movement with P and F, but you need to drop your forearms to a horizontal position so that, now push forward. There. It's going to roll on the prosthetic toe, but you're not asking him to push upward into you. Okay, thank you. Alright, you do a lot of this to work on that transverse rotation because that transverse rotation is critical for advancing prosthetics correctly. So actually transfemoral. You're hearing me say this. What is control central on everybody? Pelvis, 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 because it contains your center of mass. Almost everything you hear me saying in training is coming back to what? Not the prosthetic foot. Nothing else is coming back to that pelvis and what we're doing in that pelvis. Because that is control central for you and should be. Okay, turning. Alright, if I'm turning, whether it's circles around hula hoop figure eights that I do in the gym or coming around the end of this table, your inside foot takes a shorter stride length and your outside foot lengthens its stride for a turn. Okay? Doesn't matter which one the prosthesis is. It's inside, outside. So if I'm standing over here and I'm going to come around the edge of this table in a 90-degree turn, my right foot is going to shorten a little bit. My left takes a long step, and then my right, and I go back through it. If I'm coming this way, my left foot's going to shorten a little. My right takes a long to get around, and then I straighten back out where I'm going. The other thing you want to do, though, is your pelvis, your headlight, your ASIS, should shine where you're going. So if I'm coming around this table, and in my long step, I keep my headlights facing forward, does this look right to get around that table? So how you actually bring the prosthesis around or whatever is more by rotating the pelvis. So I bring my pelvis around, and I orient my pelvis, whether it's the inside or outside foot in the turn, by my pelvic orientation of my ASIS and what I'm doing with my pelvis, especially on the longer strides. Okay, bringing that ASIS around helps it. I have patients work on turning towards and away with it, and towards the sound side and the prosthetic side. They shouldn't have to, even when they're turning 180 degrees to turn around. If I'm standing here and need to walk towards this side of the room, I need to go and turn left or right. I have a certain process that will tell patients only turn one way. I will tell you with transfemorials, it's easier to stabilize in a 360 or 180 turn by pulling the prosthesis back into extension. So right now my left leg is my amputated side. Pulling it backwards, I'm more likely to stabilize it to take off than I am if I turn the other way, because then I gotta flex the knee sometimes, and I have to really worry about making sure the knee's straight. It's more stable to pull the leg backwards in extension for transfemorials than forward into a forward motion, but they still need to turn both ways. There are lots of situations that you're only going to turn, you're going to turn the more natural way, the shorter distance. And if you can only turn one direction, you're going to be in trouble. I work on people turning. I put two hula hoops down because I can get in the middle of them, and I have them walk figure eights around them or circles. I also have them stand in the bars, and I work on taking off to the left. If I'm a left amputee and I'm standing here and I want to go left, I need to weight my right leg, unweight my prosthesis, and step it by turning my ASIS that way. Stepping out and putting weight on it, and then walking towards the camera. Okay? What you don't want them to do is twist on the heel. Like this. Or pull it back like this and reorient so that motion is front to back with my teeter-totter. Okay? If I am standing here and need to go to the right, my goal is to put my weight on my prosthesis, pick my right foot up and step out and out enough back that it's not in the way of my, I don't want to step forward and be in the way of my prosthesis and then I gotta go around it. okay? So I need to actually open up my hip enough to clear it. So my right SIA faces where I'm going. I put weight on my right leg and bring the prosthesis around by my left ASIS to head that direction, okay? So I work on from a moving right 90-degree turn. I do it from a stationary 90-degree turn. I do 180s from stationary and moving. I do 360s. All kinds of things to make them work on learning how to turn. And at all times when they're in stance on the prosthetic side, you want their weight on top of the prosthesis. And you want them actually picking up the sound foot and moving it where it wants to go, not doing these little twists. Or you definitely want to correct them if you see them turning around like this. To go back down the curve, if we just went up the curve. No, come out. No, that's not happening. Put that foot down and use it. Okay? I do work on backwards walking, which I've already talked about pressure on it. I work on walking with normal base. I have a line in my gym, and I actually, if I'm trying to work on abductor gait, or correcting abductor gait, I actually tell them the thing about there's mirrors on each end. They can glance at the floor and look at the mirror. I tell them the inside of the heel should be 1 to 2 inches off of that line. Okay? So the other 1 to 2 inches off of it, the inside of the heel. Walk down here and kind of feel what it's like. After they get a feel of that, then I say, okay, we're going to do 4 steps right, 2 wrong, 4 right, 2 wrong. What I want you to do is do 4 steps with the prosthesis. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, I want you to take 2 steps with it kicked out to the side. Doesn't have to be that far. Just kick it out a little bit too far. Put your weight on it for 2 steps. Bring it back in for 4. Out for 2, in for 4. They start to the line's still here. They're starting to proprioceptively feel when the leg is under them versus abducted. Then we get away from the line. I want you to walk around the gym. I want you to do 4 steps right, 2 wrong, 4 right. And I want you to feel it without the line telling you where you are. And I want you to tell me when the leg is under you versus kick out to the side in the kickstand position. Make sense for that reference to them? Can you feel the difference? Yeah, it feels really different when it's under me. When you're walking around and you feel that, I want you to ask yourself, is my foot under me where it should be? And they go, okay. And it starts to make sense to them to correct that abductive position. I work on some tandem walking, not always a lot, but I do tandem a little bit with people. It is recommended. You want to be really careful with transmemorials. It's hard and uncomfortable sometimes, and guys really hate it. Sometimes because it really does pinch some things down in there, sometimes with the hard socket. So be real careful with tandem. And whether you're getting out of it what you want, it's worth the issues. Work on trunk rotation and arm swing. Our arm swing should happen from our shoulder girdle, which is the whole scapula moving back and forth. Should not be glenohumeral like a toy soldier, okay, or all elbow. And remember, the prosthetic side arm is the most likely to not actually rotate. If you, a trick for watching someone walk away from you and looking for equal arm swing, if you pull their shirt down or tuck it, you'll see the crease of their shirt start to go back and forth. So when I walk away from you and away from the camera, I'm going to pull my shirt down. All right, what you should see is my arms, the shirt starting to crease in the back.
Oh man, it worked.
Yeah, whatever. Watch it. Okay, so the shirt helps you, but when you're trying to get it, make sure your resistance is in enough that you're resisting the shoulder girdle, okay? And you're not resisting out here for glenohumeral joints. You can do crossovers and braiding gait, which I do a lot of to work on weight shifting with individuals. I a lot of times will start near a countertop, the pillow board, so they have horizontal support, progress it to a wall to nothing. With some of my more advanced patients, I take them outside, I have them walk on grass, gravel, sand, and mulch. The trick of the prosthesis with walking on resistant surfaces, especially taller grass, is, remember I talked about the nickel broken hip flexion? To pull the leg forward, you have to increase it to get through grass. One way you know that when you're doing training that they're pulling too hard, if my foot comes up and comes back down, soften up on how hard you're pulling with the hip flexor. It should not come way up and come back down. It literally, the heel should hit as the leg swings forward, almost timing it exactly. So if it comes up and back down, that's a sign that you're using weight and hip flexion for the advancement. One thing too is on gravel and training, especially initially, is to feel where you are. Take a second longer, a split second longer to sense whether the ground is pitching you one way or the other, because ground, yes, will pitch you if it's not firm and hard. Stairs and curbs. I'm looking to see this way to minute this. Is there a footstool in here? Oh, yeah, right there. Box on it. Okay, I do know that you're not supposed to call parts of patients' bodies good and bad. But I don't want my patient getting out in public and sitting the type of flight of stairs and going, did she say the right or left leg and getting it wrong? Because guess what's going on? They're going to get hurt. So I tell my patients intentionally, when I'm first doing the modified way, it's up with the good, down with the bad. Okay? So if my left leg is amputated, okay, I have them step up with the good, weight shoot over it, and come back. Now, here's the thing with a prosthesis, especially if there's a lip or it's open face like this is. They can't do what I call the lazy drag up, because you're going to catch the toe if you do, like in a beach house or something. Okay? You have to do this slight kickback to clear it at the edge. For a transtibial, make them bend that knee. Do not let them stiff leg it up. Say, all right, bend the knee and step up. Do not drag that leg up. Step it up. Okay? You want to teach them how to go up and down that way. Obviously, you can progress rails and that kind of stuff. If someone is transtibial, you can go up and down, alternating and reciprocal. Okay? You want the weight to teach reciprocal with transtibial until they have the weight-bearing force. It takes more weight and pressure on that. So if they're relying heavily on upper extremity support, they are not ready to try reciprocal stairs. And I tell patients all the time, it's not about doing stairs normal. It's about learning how to lift and lower your body weight. Because if you step in a hole, that's the same motion, and then I come out of it like going upstairs. So it actually teaches you good recovery. It's not all about normal gait pattern. Okay? So if I'm going up alternating, I can lead with either leg, but I'm going to lead with the prosthesis just as an example. The one thing you want to do is put the prosthesis directly in front of your hip and don't let it be abducted. Okay? You're going to actually teach them to weight you forward towards the leg, then extend and step the other leg up. Okay? If you actually don't extend too early, you're not holding on to rails, see what happens? So you've got to shift forward first to that foot, then extend it after you shift forward and step up with the other leg. Okay? And again, when you step up with the prosthesis to the next step, you need to bend the knee and don't get in the habit of doing all this circumduction, swinging it around to get it up there. Break that habit initially and get them to flex that knee. Now, when they're stepping down, okay? Normally I have them step down, okay, with the bag, unless we're at the advanced training setting. Now, if I'm going down a curb, not stairs, and I'm going down, you want to teach them, even if they're going down with the bag, to step through. Because once you get rid of the walker and the excess of support, if you come down and step even, it's the same thing with up. When you're going up and down, even though you're going up to go down with the bag, step your second leg through because it helps to shift that weight and they're not teetering at the edge of that curve, back and forth. Okay? So I'm going to go down and learn how to load my knee. And we're going to talk about transfemoral stance hydraulics for this in a second. But my toe needs to be see over the edge. Because my ankle will not dorsiflex enough, and it puts extension, and then suddenly buckles. If I put my toe over the edge, the toe dips down, which lets my knee bend and come down. Remember Chip, the guy that came to the prescription lab? When I came out, he was sitting up here at the top, and we walked down the stairs. The leg was way back, and I said, Chip, who taught you to do stairs that way? And he goes, I don't remember. I said, all right, do me a favor, put the toe over the edge and let the knee bend directly over the foot, not around it. What I mean by that is don't let the knee go around the foot. Let it track straight over as you step down. And he goes, oh, that is so much better. I was like, yeah, you're not fighting the knee bend, you're letting the knee bend and lower you down. The other thing, our initial contact when we're going down the stairs is with your toe, because you're actually trying to lengthen your leg a little bit. And if you hit flat-footed on the heel, that's a longer drop, and you hit hard. Whereas if I'm reaching with my right foot, obviously my prosthesis can't do this, but when I'm reaching, if I point my toe and sit my heel down, that little bit of contact earlier by my leg being longer, my toe pointed, softens the blow. Okay, so you really want them to think about, and then when I step down to the next step, I'm putting that toe over the edge to come down. Now, with anyone with stance resistance, hydraulics or whatever it is, microprocessors or one of the SNSs over there, okay, you must have stance hydraulics to descend stairs this way. But you can actually teach them to ride the hydraulics. There's 3 parts to it. The first part is to have the toes over the edge. When they get better, they'll put it where just the heel's on the step, but don't start that way. Okay? They want the knee slightly unlocked. If the knee is locked and you step down with the right, that prosthesis is not going to bend. It's going to, no. Okay? But you also don't want it so bent that the hydraulics are already bled out. Okay? So they need to slightly bend the knee. My hips need to be directly over the foot. I shouldn't be back here. Okay? So I need to be over it. And then when I slightly lean in, I reach down with the sound side. I'm holding on with 2 rails. And I get them, at first I'm holding the front of the knee, and I'm letting them feel that they got that control, and then I take my hands away and I start to feel what the hydraulics are doing is slowing down the knee buckling so they have time to step the right leg down under control. Okay? When they get to the point of going reciprocal, you're still doing the same 3 things that I just said, but you're actually going to put the prosthesis out, shift over it with enough slight knee flexion, and then step all the way down to the next step. Obviously, I start with 2 rails, start with contralateral rail, ipsilateral rails, the 3rd progression, because it's a little harder with the rails on the same side as the prosthesis. Okay? I rarely ever do alternate with no rails. I think that's dangerous and not worth it. I would do a step 2 pattern if they're in a position with no rails. I just am not a big fan of no rails with transfemoral. If you're using a microprocessor leg, like a C-leg or something, have them always step off with the sound side first so that the prosthesis knows you're going down and not straight further. Okay? So always lead with the sound side and tell the hydraulics knee what you're about to do, because it registers it. Okay. Ramps and curves, or inclines. A prosthesis is aligned for flat surface walking. So stairs and curves are easier because they're nothing but series of flat surfaces. Okay? Ramps and inclines misalign your prosthesis. The steeper it is, the worse it is. Okay? When you're going up and down a ramp, it's the same gait sequence as flat ground. But some of the keys are, number 1, you need to keep an upright trunk. Do not let them flex forward. It will muffle the knee out a lot quicker. So they need to stay upright in the trunk. If they're using a walker, especially going downhill, you may want to move the hands back on the walker a little bit to put more weight on the back of the rolling walker. But you want to keep an upright trunk and don't let them flex. Second thing is you want them to weight shift over the prosthesis. Because if I'm on an angle going up, okay, I'm coming back.
Okay.
All right, Andrew. Put your computer first. Hold my ramp up there. Hold my ramp. Okay, so this is the left leg. If I actually pick my right foot up right now, while this is flat-footed, where's the pylon leaning? Posteriorly, and it's going to push me posteriorly, right?
Yes.
So I actually have to, with my pelvis, weight shift forward to be directly over it before I move my right foot up, so that it's going to actually have you weight bearing on the toe a little more, not up like you and I would kind of flexing, but forward so that it feels like there's more pressure on the toe. And then I go ahead and step through. Make sure they're bending the knee when they bring this through, because if they don't bend it, they got to circumvent and do everything else that can throw them off balance. When you're coming down, you notice how forward that is leaning. Yes, Andrew and I had this on a very steep ramp, but you notice how forward this is leaning. Okay? So I don't want to pick up my right foot in this case because this is the left while the foot is flat. I actually need to be directly over the prosthesis, so I'm actually walking down on the heel. Okay? So whether it's transfemoral or transtibial, you want the same sequence that you do for flat surface gait. It's not up to the good, down to the back, or anything like that. It's the same sequencing. Upright trunk, and make sure you weight shift over the prosthesis and stance, which means up heels, you're going more forward on the toe to be over it, and downhill, you're putting more weight on the heels. A lot of times the patients will feel like they're walking on their heels, and they'll do it on both sides just to get a sense of where their weight is. But you should be stepping through. If you have one that unlocks by toe pressure, sometimes when you're going downhill, the toe is going away from the ground and it doesn't want to unlock. I tell them if it wants to unlock naturally, go ahead and let it do it. But if you're having to sit there and try to fight to get toe pressure on it, just stiff leg it down, because the ground's going away from you when you're going downhill. So it's easier just to stiff leg it sometimes if it doesn't want to unlock with a toe pressure loading one that unlocks that way. All right, running. I'm not going to cover this a lot, but I am going to tell you some ways to help your patients learn to run. Now, number one is you can go on the treadmill holding on and learn that alternate gait. When you're teaching a patient, especially a transfemoral, to run, you want to teach them first how to slow down. When above these first learn to run, they would come across at the Paralympics, the finish line, and they'd all fall because they try to suddenly stop. They couldn't decelerate. Okay? So one trick to start walking is more like what we call a hop skip. You're going to skip on your good leg and hop on the prosthesis. So if okay, again, my left leg is my prosthesis. It gives me the chance to get the prosthesis forward. But it's how you also decelerate with an above knee sometimes. So when I'm done running step over step, I need to transition to that hop skip to slow down sometimes without falling. So you still need to talk to them about how to do that, because it does make a difference for them. Okay? When you start to run, the definition between running versus fast walking is, in true running, at some point you have no limb support. In walking, you always have single limb support or double limb support at all times during the gait cycle. But for true running, there is an instant in time that you have zero support. Okay? How you can trigger that, I learned this at a course in Texas years ago, and they were doing it over footstools. Not my clinic, that's a trick hazard. Crazy. We put TheraBand. I have been under the chalk outside on the sidewalks, and I put the targets a certain distance away. And it depends on leg lengths, and Nick would need to be further away than mine, because his legs are longer. Okay, the goal is to put only 1 foot between each marker, which starts to get you coming off. And yes, when they start getting real easy, I'll move them a little bit further away if I need to figure it out. But I have them try to place 1 foot between each marker, which starts that kind of split second of no clearance. And It's a good technique to start some running. Squatting and lifting. If I have a transtibial amputation on the left side, my key is to keep my prosthesis flat on the ground. So I want my prosthesis forward so that when I bend my knees to go put this down, the prosthetic foot stays flat on the ground. If my toes were even, when I bent my knees, my prosthesis would kick up on the toe and the heel would lift and throw me to the other side. So if I walked up to this and I wanted to pick it up off the ground, I'd put the prosthesis forward and go down there and bend my knees and pick it up. If it's transfemoral and you do not have stance resistance, you need the knee to stay locked. Because if I unlock the knee without any resistance, it's a one-legged activity, but I need the leg to help me. So if I have a left transfemoral, I'm going to abduct it and I'm going to bend my right leg and place it down and come back up towards midline with the wide stance and bring my prosthesis in. So if I wanted to pick up that, I would come stand with it right between my legs. I would abduct my prosthesis. Now look where my weight is. It's midline between my 2 feet, right? I'm going to shift towards my sound side, bending my knee, pick it up, come back up midline. Okay? Because having the knee extended lets both legs help me go down there. Okay? If they have stance hydraulics, you can actually load the hydraulics the same as sitting down and start to go down and pull back up like you're standing out of a chair. The squat down and sit down for a stance hydraulics knee are very similar to sit and stand with the stance hydraulic going over. Now, if I'm lifting a box, I don't want my feet behind the box because look what I'm doing with my back. That's bad mechanics, right? So I'm going to put my prosthesis to the back corner to the outside of the box. I'm going to take my sound side and I'm going to externally rotate it and step wide. I'm not completely to the side, but I'm widening my stance. It's almost like some of the squats we do in class, okay? Now, I'm going to do is I'm going to bend down with my knees and I'm going to pull this box straight up to my chest and then straighten up, okay? When I go to put this down, I get my feet in a similar position. My prosthesis is forward and my good leg is externally rotated in a wider stance and I'm going to squat and place this box directly inside my prosthetic foot.
You have to have stance hydraulics with that, right?
That's for a below knee right now.
Okay, below knee.
If I am doing this for an above knee, I'm going to actually bring my good leg to the outside of the box, abduct, come back up to midline. See what I did?
Yep.
But what you want to know is that if it's below knee, the prosthesis goes to the outside of the box, not behind it. You're above knee. If I want to put this down, I'm going to actually step out with my prosthesis and I'm right in the middle. And I'm going to bend towards the good leg, put the box down and come back up. Okay, you see how I'm starting to incorporate some of it?
Yeah.
And you're right, if it's stance hydraulics, you can start to load it like I did on the below knee. Alright, kneeling on the floor. Up with the good, down with the back. Because let me tell you what, transtibials hate kneeling on their prosthesis because they have a knee to go down either way. The easiest is to have something horizontal to push on, like a chair bottom, a bed, a bumper of a car. Okay, if you've fallen. If I'm going down, I don't want to face when I'm pushing on. I want to turn about 45 degrees so I can stay close to my hands. If I face it, I'm going away from the support. Okay? If I turn 45 degrees, I can kick my closest leg back, kneel down, and then when I bring my second leg down, if I need to kneel, I swing it around like a dog on a fire hydrant. And then I bring it back up the same way. Once one foot is forward, I weight shift over it and come back up. Now, if this is transfemoral, you want to go up with the good, down with the bad, and the prosthetic knee needs to be directly under the hip. If you don't kick it back under the hip, that side won't support you when you get into the kneeling position. So you need to kick it back when you go to kneel down on the transfemoral knee to the exact location directly under the hip. Okay? Same thing with floor transfers. These are great ways to get on and off the floor. Is go through kneeling to get down there on and off the floor. Okay? Getting in and out of the car. A lot of times, you get in the car, you want to sit on the seat. If the car goes across the back of the room, you want to sit on the seat and swing your legs in. You go in. If the prosthetic knee if your below knee, sometimes you can't flex the knee enough to clear the door jamb. You can't clear the door jamb. Scoot your bottom further into the middle of the car before you try to swing your feet in. Same thing with getting out. If I can't clear the prosthetic knee foot because my knee won't bend enough, scoot to the middle of the car, turn, and then scoot forward to the edge and stand up to the walker, whatever I'm going to use to get out of the car. If the more advanced is do what you and I probably do, I've challenged you when you leave here today, so look how you actually get in a car and what you do. You actually usually are going to face the front of the car and you're going to step the leg in depending on if I'm driving or, okay? I'm going to step in and sit this hip down and then bring my second leg in. And you can do that with the prosthesis. It just takes practice, okay? And getting used to how to do it and get out. And then obviously when I'm standing up out of it and my prosthesis is coming out of the car first, you need to make sure that the knee's extended if it's above knee, right? It's not going to support you if you're below knee, or if your knee slaps and you're above. Stepping over. When I want to step over obstacles with the prosthesis, the big thing is proprioceptively they learn where they are with pressure on the foot. But when the foot is in the air, without my vision, I don't know how high I've done it. So when I step over something, I need to watch it clear, the prosthesis clear. So I look, I step over the prosthesis. If I'm above knee, I make sure the knee's extended, shift, and step over with the second foot, okay? If the object gets too tall to step over forward because it's too tall or too wide for me in my current balance, sidestepping is doable. This time you can have the patient go either with leading first because you're going to kick forward and step the other leg over, okay? But the prosthesis must go forward when you're going sideways so that you see it clear. But you can practice it both ways and figure out which side they prefer with sidestepping. But you can sidestep taller items easier than you can forward step. Sports. It is good to help patients return to sports. Sports are great for balance and learning how to do things on it. I played tennis, racquetball, badminton for racket sports. I've had one patient bring me a pickleball. Well, that was fun. We do golf swings and start with putting and then work on driving. I actually have wiffle ball golf balls and we'll go outside on the grass and drive them into the side of the building. Don't do real ones because if you miss, somebody's windshield might not like it. You can do baseball. You can start with wiffle balls and baseball, and you can hit different balls. I have a plastic kid's bat, and we play in the gym sometimes. But you'd be surprised how the swing works balance and helps patients, and it's something they like. You can't do skiing, swimming. I actually had a patient. Oh yeah, I have a hard-headed patient. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I was telling him how to dismount. First I was telling him how to ride a bicycle. First off, when you pedal a bicycle with a prosthesis, you don't want the toe on it because it kicks in and hits the arm piece of the pedal and throws the leg off. You want more of the arch or the hind foot on the pedal when you're pedaling, okay, and it'll stay on better. If it keeps falling off, your seat may be too high or too far back if you're on a recumbent style bike. If you can't get it all the way around, you're either too close or too short on your seat. But when you mount like him, you want to stand on the sound side because you're going to balance on one leg and swing the prosthesis over. You should be able to stand straddling the bar. If you can't stand flat-footed on the ground straddling the bar, the bike is too tall for you. Okay, it's not the right bike, not the seat height, the bike itself. Okay? And when you dismount, you're going to tilt the bike towards your sound side, swing the prosthesis over, and come back this way. The reason you don't want to be on the prosthetic side, because if I lean too far in the tilt, I'm more likely to fall. Okay, I have better balance, okay? When I'm straddling the bike, I put the sound side pedal up, okay? I push off and get the bike rolling. While it's rolling a little bit, I go ahead and get up on the seat with my butt at this point, because my foot's on the pedal, I'm higher. I get the prosthesis where I want it and start pedaling, okay? We would start, stop with him. He actually, I taught him how to do this because he thought he's been mountain bike riding for years out in Seattle. And I talked him through it, and he goes, I'm good, Robin. I said, don't do it by yourself. I won't. What'd I tell you? All right, whatever. He went home. His wife was gone. He gets his mountain bike out. And he got on, and he couldn't figure out how to stop, so he had to aim for the yard and fall. A PT lives next door to him. Saw him fall, came up, and got him out. So he brought his mountain bike to therapy the next time so I could show him what he really needed to do. And we went out back and rode the mountain bike for part of the session. We start, stop, turning left and right side into you think. Eventually, first we're just curving and eventually to do a kind of U-turn, turn around going the other way. But turning, especially towards the prosthetic side, because you weight that foot more when you turn to that side, is awkward. So my PTA, Kathy, and I were out there initially because her patient didn't come, and we had the gait belt and we're kind of trotting on the siding. And we say stop, push feet down, get back up, go again, turn around. And by the end, he could ride the bike because I'm good. But he literally hard-headed. All right, you already know gait a lot. I'm not going through this. Did this last week. Typically, gait is after this lecture, but because of our rearranging, it wasn't. Okay, that is the gist of prosthetic training. I will tell you, a lot of your CAs may want notes on this lecture that I just did for 4 hours this morning. You have more training than the average PT after this morning. Okay, I am telling you. You have a lot of PTs don't know half of what you heard this morning. Okay? They're teaching someone how to use a real prosthesis beyond the evaluation. Okay. Give me 1 second. Oh, twin legs. This is a vacuum seal bag. You can actually put this over avoiding prosthesis and pump all the air out and get it full. If you're going to submerge, it's good to stand without weight. If you're going to submerge it in water, I recommend you put a 1 or 2 pound weight. These feet are made out of things that make them want to float. It won't float you upside down, but you'll spend the whole time pushing your foot down and it's annoying. So if you put a 1 or 2 pound cuff weight on the ankle before you put it in the bag, it will keep the foot where it doesn't want to float while they're in the water all the time. Okay, but you can pass this around and you can see the picture or the seal on it. You were supposed to let me know if you were trouble with the time on the practical. All right. Here is the grading rubric for the prosthetic prescription practice. This is totally how your grades will be taken. You will come into a room. There's an example at the end. I'll go to in a second. You will be given a piece of paper for chart review. I can't have the 2 subjects that are coming go through 17 amp rows a day. Okay? It's asking too much. Okay? So you will be given a chart that will give you lots of information about that. You will have a blank amp pro in there and you'll be able to figure out the amp pro yourself. Based on the material that's given to you, you will have information on there about some strengths and some different stuff on the patient. Okay? After you do your chart review, you will go in and you will interview your patient. First thing you're going to do is look at the residual and you're going to give me a description. It is no different than what we did in pre-prosthetics, except you're writing at this time instead of just orally telling me. Okay? You will get 2 points for every descriptor that you give me for a maximum of 20 points. Okay? I can't be any more clear than that. You give me 9 descriptors, you just lost, you're going to make a 98. plain and simple, okay? Then you are going to write up the assessment as if I'm an insurance person that you want to pay for this loan, okay? Remember, I cheat. I'm only going to read your assessment. I'm not reading all the other garbage you put throughout your write-up. I'm only reading your assessment, okay? So, when you do it, the leading statement should contain 5 key points. Recommendation for a prosthesis, okay? It must include, you cannot say, leave the word with the prosthesis, because these patients can hop on crutches sometimes at a K3 level. I can introduce you to patients that can function at a K3 level without a prosthesis, hopping on crutches, okay? So you must include the words with the prosthesis. This patient has excellent rehab potential to function with a prosthesis at a K3, K2, whatever level, which is a full community ambulator with a variable cadence. I am looking for not just the K number, but I am looking for a description, okay? You will get 3 points for each of those 5 key words. Okay, clear? That's your leading opening statement. Okay? Then, when you start to look at the prescription, I am looking for these key things in there. Again, I'm going to go through the example in a minute. Okay? I want a transfemoral prosthetic endoskeletal, temporary or definitive. What makes it temporary definitive? Is it my first or my second or third leg? Right? Okay? Prosthesis with a visual containment socket. Okay? I need socks for volume management. I'm going to use a silicone gel liner with a Velcro lanyard. I'm making this up, guys. All I'm looking for. I am not looking for you to agree with me on the prescription. I am looking that you agree with yourself. If you know this is a K3 patient and you put them in a non-hydraulic leg, you and I are going to talk. You're going to lose some points. Okay? Agree with yourself. Make a concrete argument for you getting this patient to that functional level that you just said in your introduction. What prosthesis do you think would get that patient to do that? Okay? That's what I'm looking for. Your own argument to plead your case for this. Okay? If you forget to put a knee on a transfemoral patient, you will lose 5 points. Plain and simple. Okay? I'm not going to argue with you on which knee, but if you're, again, I might make off a point or two if your knee does not agree with your functional number. If your K level and your knee are not in agreement, you're going to lose a point or 2. Okay? If you don't put a knee on them at all, you're going to lose 5 points. If they're transtibial and you put a knee on them, you're going to lose 5 points. If they are transtibial and you don't put a knee, you automatically get the 5 points. You get it just because you were smart enough not to put a knee on them. And confuse this insurance adjuster. Okay? You are going to write 3 goals in form format. Does everybody remember what form means? Functional, objective, realistic, measurable, enabling factor. Okay?
Is that the same thing as our SMART goals, pretty much? Or do you?
Probably close.
Okay.
But they must include the prosthesis, all 3 goals, and you're going to give me 2 treatment plans. Oh, we went over that today, didn't we? Of how to achieve those goals. Okay? You're going to give me 1 balance, 1 gait, and 1 prosthetic care goal on this patient. Now, I'm going to come down here. This might answer it. Wait. Okay? This is the sample of one that was really done a while back in a clinic we did. I'm going to give you a little more information than what's in the condition of the limb, that kind of stuff. I'm going to give you more information that will help you with the AMP Pro. Okay? What's in red is what you should write. Okay? So as you look at this, I described the scar and I